Please join me in celebrating Brian Savo, Volunteer of the Year.
Good evening. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the ALS Association and staff for all the hard work and dedication. Over the past 4 years, you have helped myself and my family through these hard times, especially letting us know that you are here for us at all times and not alone. When I first started experiencing symptoms, I was at the age of 28. And at that time, I was a health buff. I was going to the gym at that time. I was probably about 10% body fat, full of muscle, in great shape. And at that time, I started to feel fatigue in my legs and muscle cramping. But being an ex-athlete, I didn't think anything of it. Thought muscle cramping, let's eat bananas, low potassium, didn't think anything of it and ignored it for a long time, many years. The cramps started to get worse. At night, my legs would be locked in position, and at that time, I felt that it was the time to, start being looked at.
Knowing that he was in such good shape, Brian thought nothing of a routine trip to the doctors, only to discover that his condition was much worse than he originally thought.
My name is Brian Savo. I'm an ALS patient. I was diagnosed January of 2009.
Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, or Lou Gehrig's disease, is a degenerative disease of the motor neurons in the brain and spinal cord. It occurs sporadically for most people, meaning that there's no clear genetic or environmental reasons, and it causes the cells in the brain and the spinal cord, these motor cells, to degenerate, thus disconnecting them from their muscles, causing muscle atrophy, weakness, and ultimately leading to death via respiratory failure within 3 to 5 years of the onset of the disease.
My first reaction when I was diagnosed, I was a deer in headlights. My wife was 7 months pregnant at the time, so obviously it was a punch in the face, shot in the gut. Everything runs through your head. Why me? You try to answer all the questions of, what did I do? And at that time, it was hard to accept. It was just one of those things. I sat there for a while. I was by myself at the time because I was going to the doctors thinking, they're just going to run some tests and get some medicine and walk out the door. And it was a little bit more extreme than that.
I don't want to cave to this killer, so I try to be independent.
Christine Venslovas has fought ALS in its more prototypical aggressive form for the last 4 years.
March of 2008, she remembers singing a song on the way to the dentist, and as she was singing the song, she couldn't make her S's, and so she felt something was a little different. She couldn't form the S through the lips. Slurred speech, too. The slurred speech increased over time. It almost sounded like she had been drinking a little bit, but she wasn't.
Christine has had ALS for 4 years. Brian has had it for 9. Doctors still do not understand why some patients live longer than others.
So ALS progression is different from person to person. So already we know that ALS can affect men and women, people of different ages, people of different races, and we don't know what causes the disease. And then on top of that, when we're discussing the diagnosis, I have no way of being able to predict how fast or slow their disease is. And that's one of the toughest challenges as a healthcare provider for this particular disease.
As challenging as it is for Dr. Andrews, patients face an even more difficult time dealing with the lengthy process of finding a correct diagnosis.
They rule out ALS last. If the criteria that the other diseases don't meet, the ALS does meet. 2 years of wrong diagnosis.
Despite their frustration, it is the things that Brian and Christine enjoy and have passion for that keep their spirits strong.
It was a difficult thing when I decided to coach hockey, and I was going to help young individuals, but I can't skate. It was something that when I first started to coach, I would actually get on the ice, and if you didn't do something, I could actually show you.
Keep 'em moving.
And we all have a purpose. So you have to accept it and figure out what that purpose is. And for me, it was helping others. I want to try to educate people on my disease, build a legacy for my family, and for me, it helps me feel good about helping other kids and other people in general.
Move your feet.
I actually put these little spiky, I have these little rubber covers that go over the bottom of my shoes, and I figured a way to at least get on the ice, and I put on my hockey gloves and my stick, and I walk around the ice, and at least I could participate and at least be out there a little bit with them, and that's how I kind of have dealt with it so far, and it's worked.
What's up, Bogart?
If there was one thing that I could do, it would be able to get back on skates. I first started playing hockey, and what sparked my interest, I've been playing since I was 3 years old. I played all through youth hockey, moved up through high school, went to prep school, and then after prep school decided to play lacrosse in college.
Set it up.
There's no words to describe how I miss it. And after coaching and now being around it, that really, it pushes you to say, wow, it's what an amazing sport, what a great opportunity I had to play that sport, and how much I miss it.
Look, back door, back door.
That's what I try to instill in the kids in their heads. Whether it's academics, whether it's them out playing basketball, baseball, football, hockey, you got a chance to play, one of the most amazing sports that are out there, whether it be any of those, and it's an opportunity and it's a gift, and to be able to do any of those things, you got to cherish it and go out there and enjoy every bit of it.
Like Brian, Christine's work as a nurse has given her a unique perspective on her situation.
I've seen people with much more to bear.
I thank God the kids are healthy and happy and that I have this and not them.
Brian is able to keep involved with the sport he loves, due in large part to strong support from his family.
What I learned from my family and friends when I was diagnosed is I wasn't alone, that I had people there that were going to be there for me and support me all the way through. And between my family and closest friends, they have been there for me thick and thin.
I think Brian doesn't want anyone to feel sorry for him, but I think what he wants people is to support him. And I think one of the greatest things you can do for a person who has such a challenging disease is to be a sounding board for him.
Ariana, want to go on the slide?
I'm glad that he's still wanting and willing to do what he loves to do, which is coach the hockey. I don't want to take that away from him, but at the same respect, when he's got these late night games going on, for instance, one coming up during the week, I'd rather him be home and in bed resting. But yeah, no, I'm happy that he's still able. I'm happy that he's still pushing, but there comes that point in time where he really needs to really make a point of taking a break and getting the rest that he needs.
The progression of the disease has taken Christine's voice, but it has not taken away her spirit.
Humor in everything if you look hard enough.
Humor in everything if you look hard enough.
Continue love, support, and don't get angry when they do things by themselves.
She never gives up on anything or anybody, so you just know that fight is within her, and it's just, I don't know, when you get that diagnosis, you see that person in such a different light because you just want to be there for them, and you bother them even though they don't want to be bothered, and you overindulge in them, but you kind of get permission to do that.
Brian and Christine gain a lot of support from their families, but thanks to additional help from the ALS Association Connecticut chapter, they are able to stabilize their lives. It is the nation's only nonprofit organization whose sole purpose is to help ALS patients and their families, as well as raise funds and awareness for the disease.
When I first walked into Lauren's office, I knew I would never feel alone again.
We have a wonderful group there, and they've been good to my kids. I mean, they've helped. They sent my son to camp, to YMCA camp last year.
They send the kids Christmas gifts
gifts every year. I mean, it's just a wonderful thing to have them there, knowing that they care. They'll be there.
The slow progression of Brian's disease has allowed him to actively fundraise in hopes that there will soon be a cure.
The Connecticut ALS chapter has put me in touch with fundraising. On the fundraising aspect of it, they've put me in touch with the Connecticut Friends of the ALS Association, which is a group of individuals who put on a golf tournament up in Portland, Connecticut, and that's done every year. The New Haven Walk is another great thing that they've introduced to me and helped me to meet another great group of individuals that are very interested in helping the disease. And with that, it's been a great adventure with them, willing to introduce me to all different types of people all throughout the state of Connecticut to help us fight against, this disease.
Each year, the ALS Connecticut chapter holds a victory ball to honor patients who have given back to the ALS community. This year, both Brian and Christine are being honored for their spirit and service.
I won the bet.
When Chris learned that she was our chapter champion this year, her response was, "I'm speechless, literally." I found a quote that reminds me so much of Chris. "Life's challenges are not supposed to paralyze you. They're supposed to tell you who you are." The challenges of living with ALS clearly show Chris Van Slovis to be a loving mother and grandmother, a tireless champion for others, an inspirational woman, and my friend. Please join me in celebrating Chris Van Slovis. I promised her I was going to make her a star, so I want you to see. I told you, Chris, there's a whole sky of stars for you.
When Brian was diagnosed in 2009, his first thought, why me? Then, what should I do? What he did was contact the chapter and got involved, giving as much assistance as he received. Please join me in celebrating Brian Savo, Volunteer of the Year.
Good evening. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the ALS Association and staff. It's a real sense of security, knowing for myself and my family that such an amazing, caring group of individuals, a strong team, is there for us for all our difficult situations and decisions that we need to make. I also would like to thank my beautiful wife and my 2 children. They're my heart and soul. My breath of fresh air. If we stay positive and we stay focused, we will find a cause and we will find a cure. I'd like to thank you all again for coming, and I'd like to thank the ALS Association and the Britain Special Care Hospital for everything you have done for myself and my family. Thank you very much.
Brian's a competitor. He's a fierce competitor. He doesn't mind a challenge once in a while. He's up to it. And it's interesting, he's taken on this same disease with the same challenge he takes every day that he goes to work and he brings to his family. And that's passion for whatever he does. You know, here's a kid who runs a tremendous business, one of the best flooring, companies I know of. And he runs, as a hockey coach now. He's got 2 young children and a wife that he's supporting. And I think that when I see that, I realize that our potential, things that we can do much more. And this might be one of the greatest things that happens to Brian because of the legacy he'll leave based on how he's handled himself in adversity and moving forward, set an example for others. I'm sorry. But, that's what it's about.
You got to keep fighting. If there's one thing that Chris has taught us, it's the human spirit, the mind and the body are powerful machines. And if the rest of us can fight as hard as these patients do, then there's a really good chance that we'll come up with a cure.
Absolutely. And just to keep the love. I think that love and support from family members and friends is so important and so vital. And we've just been blessed with Lauren and the doctors at the Hospital for Special Care. They are amazing too. So, but I don't know, it comes down to that love and that hope. It keeps me going.
Yeah. To stop thinking and trying to figure out why. Accept it, enjoy your life, and try to figure out what is the most important thing in life.
Be good to yourself. Be grateful for what you still have and enjoy every single moment.